Today we are working on Excel Expert Lesson 6, the 7th lesson, Configuring Security for Macros. So on the Developer tab in the Code group, click Macro Security. So click Developer and Macro Security. The Macro Settings page of the Trust Center dialog box appears. In the Macro Settings section, so it should be right there on it, ensure that Disable All Macros with Notification is selected. In the Developer Macro Settings section, select the Trust Access to the VBA Project Object Model checkbox. This one right here, if necessary, and then click OK. Go to the next step. Open the Sparkline Macro Enable Workbook from the Resource Files folder. So we're going to click File, Open, Browse, go to your Resource Files and Sparkline Macro and open it. Move this up. The workbook opens and a notification that macros have been disabled appears below the ribbon. Right here, you see that. Click the Developer tab. Then in the Code group, click Macros. The Macro dialog box appears. In the Macro dialog box, ensure that the macro is selected. Should be selected right here. And then click Run. You're not able to run the macro because it's been disabled. In the message box, click OK. So let's mark that as answered. Go to the next one. Close, then reopen the Sparkline Macro Enable Workbook. So let's click File and then Close. And let's reopen it. Open. Browse, go to your Resource Files, Sparkline Macro. So now, this time in the notification bar, click Enable Content. The macro in the workbook is enabled. On the Developer tab in the Code group, click Macros. The macro dialog box appears. Ensure that the Sparks macro is selected, then click Run. The macro code is executed and Excel insert Sparkline charts into column J. You see that it did that. So mark that as answered, submit. And this completes configuring security for macros.